In this video, I want to show you how Ellen White contradicts herself and apparently loses track of what she's doing. And it pretty much shows the false doctrine of the Seventh Day Adventist organization. She just doesn't know that she's doing it, but she shows the false doctrine and shows that investigative judgment is just not so. Again, not knowing the scripture and apparently not being able to keep track of what she's saying, she pretty much proves investigative judgment isn't so, and that when Jesus entered into heaven on his ascension, he entered into the Holy of Holies. Now, I'm getting this out of the great controversy between Christ and Satan, the conflict of the ages in the Christian dispensation. This is by the Review and Herald Publishing Association, Washington, D.C., copyright 1888, 1907, and 1911 by Ms. Ellen E.G. White. And this is chapter 23 in that book, which is called What is the Sanctuary? Now then, I want to read you a statement here made by Ellen White in this book on page 435. Remember, this is in chapter 23, What is the Sanctuary? This is on page 435. And I quote, "Once a year on the great day of atonement, the priest entered the most holy place for the cleansing of the sanctuary. The work there performed completed the yearly round of ministration. On the day of atonement, 2 kids of the goat were brought to the door of the tabernacle, and lots were cast upon them, one lot for the Lord and the other for the scapegoat. The goat upon which fell the lot for the Lord was to be slain as a sin offering for the people. And the high priest was to bring the blood within the veil and sprinkle it upon the mercy seat. And before the mercy seat, the blood was to be sprinkled upon the altar of incense that was before the veil." End quote. Now listen to what she says here now. The priest was to bring his blood within the veil, sprinkling it upon the mercy seat and before the mercy seat. Where is the mercy seat? It's in the Holy of Holies, the place where God is, within the veil. That's what that within the veil means. She is saying that within the veil meant the Holy of Holies on page 435. And she clarified that by saying it was sprinkled upon the mercy seat and before the mercy seat. Again, where is the mercy seat? For those of you who know about the Day of Atonement, the mercy seat is inside the Holy of Holies, within the veil. Now then, she's explaining the Bible there, and did a good job explaining the Bible there, but now she loses track and has to get back on the false doctrines for the Seventh Day Adventist organization. Now listen to what she says on page 436, and I quote, "The ministration of the priest throughout the year in their first apartment of sanctuary within the veil," she said in the first apartment now, okay, which formed the door and separated the holy place from the outer courts, represents the work of the ministry upon which Christ entered on his ascension. End quote. So now she's saying the priest, the ministry of the priest throughout the year within the first apartment. The first apartment, that was the holy place, within the veil. Okay, she just got through talking about the veil being inside where the mercy seat is with the Holy of Holies. Now she's placing within the veil out in the holy place. And she says that, which formed the door, separated the holy place from the outer court. And here's what it says, representing the work of the ministry upon Christ where he entered upon his ascension. So she just got through saying on page 435 that all of this was done inside the veil where the mercy seat was, in the Holy of Holies. But now she's changed her mind, and she's quoting the Bible. Now she's just back to her own thoughts, and she can't keep her mind straight, I guess, because she's saying now within the veil means the holy place, and saying that Jesus, when he went into heaven, entered the holy place, not the most holy place. But yes, she had just quoted the Bible where all this was taking place inside the Holy of Holies, within the veil. Now then, on page 437, she says this, and I quote, "Thither the faith of Christian disciples followed him as he ascended from their sight, where their hope centered, which hope we have Paul said, an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, in which entered into that within the veil, whether the forerunner is for us entered, even Jesus Christ, made a high priest forever. Neither by the blood of the goats and calves, but by his own blood, he entered into it, once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for us all, end quote. Again, she's putting Christ in the holy place. But yet she says within the veil, where she described on page 435 as being where the mercy seat is, and that is in the Holy of Holies. So you see, as long as she stuck to the Bible on page 435, she was doing all right. But then she had to get off back on the false doctrine of the Seventh Day Adventist organization in this investigative judgment. So on page 435, she puts within the veil where the mercy seat is, and everyone knows the mercy seat is inside the Holy of Holies. Then she jumps back to investigative judgment and says that within the veil now is the holy place where Jesus entered upon ascension, and Jesus never was in the holy place. She did the same thing on 437. She talks about Jesus entering the within the veil, or again the holy place. And again on page 435, it is described as the most holy place, the mercy seat, where the mercy seat is. So see, she was trying to get the Bible right up here on page 435, and she did all right up there because the mercy seat is within the veil. That's where it is, just like she says it is. But now she's got to get back to her false doctrines, and hopefully nobody will pick up on this. So now she puts within the veil to mean the holy place. On page 436 and 437, she just turns it around and flips it to fit the doctrines of investigative judgment. That is no doctrine at all for anyone else but the Seventh Day Adventist. Pretty much, she has shown that it's basically a false doctrine. She lost track of what she was doing and jumps back and puts the, rather than putting the most holy place where Jesus entered within the veil, where the mercy seat is, she jumps back to investigative judgment and now puts him back outside the veil again. You see, you can't keep up. You can't, keep up with lies all the time. Sooner or later, you're going to lose track of the lies you've told. And that's apparently just what she did here. She just proved to herself that investigative judgment is a total farce. It's just ridiculous. She just proved it herself. 435, the mercy seat, within the veil. That's where the mercy seat was, within the veil. But on 436 and 437, she goes back to their doctrines, and now within the veil, and to her meant the holy place, and not the most holy place like she described on page 435. Well, leave it up to Ben Golly to find the errors of the Seventh Day Adventists like this and show them how they follow our false prophetess. Until next time, this is Ben Golly saying, God bless. Forgot one thing I needed to add here. Excuse me on that. You can go and look at the 1858 version of the Great Controversy, which is called the Great Controversy Between Christ and His Angels and Satan and His Angels, by Ellen White, Battle Creek, Michigan, published by James White in 1858. You can go to this edition of the Great Controversy, and you never find any language whatsoever into it about investigative judgment or within the veil or anything of such. It's just not there, because they were talking about the first three angels' message, in which the investigative judgment did not exist then. Go look at the 1858 version of the Great Controversy. You will never find any language in there whatsoever about Jesus being within the veil or investigative judgment like that, because it didn't exist when they were talking about the first three angels' message. They reinvented the first three angels' message, changed it to the second three angels' message, and then added investigative judgment. And she said, God is showing her all this. God must have had a field day with Ellen White, showing her everything that's wrong for years and years and years. And then all of a sudden, telling her what is right then. Oh, I've just been kidding with you. Okay. Till next time, Ben Golly saying, God bless.